Good morning. Today we're learning Bobikama Daf Memvov. So we had a machloikis. What type of shmir does a tam need and what type of shmir does a mod need? Rabbi Loza in the Mishnah says, second line down on Memvov, Rabbi Loza oimer en le shmir lesakin. The only shmir you need to do, you could do for a mod, like a cow, is to kill it. You can't keep it alive, and even if you did a very good shmir, you'll be chayiv. Omar Rabba, my time with Rabbi Loza. What's the source of Rabbi Loza's din? Domar Krol, it says in the pasuk, V'lo yishmerenu, and we learn Shuv ein lo yishmer lezeh. It says lo yishmerenu, it means you can't guard this anymore. There's no way of guarding it, only killing it. Omar le Abaye, he told Abaye to Rava, Elomato, if this is so, Tichsiv, where it says V'lo yichasenu about bor, that someone dug a bor and didn't cover it. Nami shuv en lo yikisu lezeh also means V'lo yichasenu, that you can't cover it, and even if you cover it, it's not good enough. V'chitei me'ochinami, and if you can tell me maybe really it's so. Vatnan, we learned in the Mishnah, Kisor Karo, if someone covered the bor like he meant to, V'nofal letoich shor chamor, and a shor chamor fell, umeis potter. You potter, why? Why you potter if you covered it well? V'lo yichasenu, you can't, en lo chisu yelo zeh, you can't cover it, you need to fill it up. Eloma Abaye, he says Abaye a different pshat in Rabbi Loza. Eine time in the Rabbi Loza kedetanya, like we learned in the Brisa b'shem Rav Nosson. Rav Nosson oima minayin shelo yigadel odom kelev rabbe toich beisoi. How do we know that person is not allowed to have a bad dog, a dog that damages, a bites in his house? V'lo yamin tzula amuro b'toich beisoi, and shouldn't have a dangerous ladder that if you climb on it you could fall down. Shenemar, because it's in the pasuk, v'lo tosim b'domim beisecho. Don't put blood in your house. Don't have something in your house that's dangerous, like a dangerous dog or a dangerous ladder. So therefore, because of this pasuk, we learn that when it says V'lo yishmerenu by this mod, that it's gored already a few times, it means you shouldn't have it at all. You should kill it like you should kill this dog. You also have to kill shecht, this cow, and therefore there's no way of guarding it. Hadron aloch shoshen ogach abra chamisha. Now we're learning a new perik. It says perik chamishin bo bekama shoshen ogach esapora, ox who gored the cow and he killed him. The nimtza uber betzida. Now we found next to this dead cow a dead baby. Vein yodua, we don't know im ad shelo nok choyoldo. Maybe before the goring happened, this baby was born dead, and therefore it's nothing to do with the goring. Im nok choyoldo, maybe after the goring, the baby died and came out, and it happened because of the goring, and therefore he has to pay also for the baby. Mishalem chetzi nezek lapara. You pay for the para. We know for sure you gored and it caused the damage. You pay chetzi nezek because it's a tam. V'revia nezek levlad, for the baby that's a sofek moment amotol basofek cholkim moment that we don't know about, and we have a sofek. You do 50-50, and since if it would be full payment would be half nezek, so sofek is half of that. That's a quarter of the full baby. V'chein, in the opposite case, para, a cow that gored the ox and it caused damage to the ox. Now we find the baby of the cow next to the cow. And we don't know. Maybe before the goring it had this baby, and therefore this baby has nothing to do with this goring, and you can't take payment from the baby. Maybe only after the goring the cow had the baby, and therefore the baby is part of the cow, and therefore you could be goiva, you could claim from the baby. The din is mishalem chetzi nezek min para. The para pays chetzi nezek. The revia nezek min avlad, and the vlad pays a revia nezek, a quarter. The chur lefi pashas hamishna comes out, they pay 3/4 for the shirt, half from the cow and another quarter from the baby, and that makes no sense. Why should you pay 3/4? We're going to see the Gemara is going to discuss and explain what's pshat. Says the Gemara, Rav Yehuda Amar Shmuel. Rav Yehuda in the name of Shmuel says, Zu divrei sumchus. This Mishnah sumchus, the Amar momon amutu b'sofek cholkim, who hold that when you have a sofek of momonis, you do chalukah. You split it. Aval chachomim argue on sumchos and say zekral godol badin. This is a big law in the din. Amoitzi mechaver olav raya, that you don't have to pay until you bring me a raya that this baby was part of the goring, or this baby died because of the goring. So the Gemara, Lama li lemeima ze klal gadol badin. Why do you say ze klal gadol badin? You should say the din is a moitzim chaver levaraya. Why are you saying this is a big law that a moitzim chaver levaraya? Why is it coming to add? Says the Gemara, it's coming to tell you a chiddush that filu nizak oyim bari, even though that the nizak says for sure your cow that gored me for sure was born. The baby was born after the goring, and therefore I could claim from the baby. Umazik koyim Hashem, and the mazik says I have no idea. You still say, even though that he's for sure claiming, and the other one says, I don't know if I'm chayiv or not, you still say, and if he doesn't have a raya that was born afterwards, he could only claim from the cow and not from the baby. Says the Gemara, inami leho. Another reason why it says klal gadol badin is to tell you this, another case. The itma, we learned, someone Reuben sold a ox to Shimon, and now we found out that this ox is a bad ox. It goes all the time. Rav Omar is a mekachtos. Rav says this is a mistake, because most people buy a cow for plowing. They don't want him to be a gora. V'Shmuel Omar, Shmuel says, Yochel shirem aloi, Reuben could tell Shimon, L'shchita mecharat yivloch. I sold it to you for shchita, and for shchita, who cares if he goes or not? You're going to shecht it right now? Says the Gemara, Amai. What's going on here? V'nechze, let's have a look. If it's a type of guy who buys for plowing the field, and he needs a cow to plow a field, therefore, obviously, it's a mekachtos. If it's a type of person who buys it for shechting, he has a butcher, so we know that he bought it for shechting. So what's the suffix here? So no. We need it in a case, the suffix, the graver, utuma, a type of person, he has also a butcher shop and also a field. They need to plow his field, so we don't know. Says the Gemara, let's have a look. It may radia if he paid the price of a proper cow that doesn't go, that's for plowing, obviously he should get such a cow. It's a mekartos. It may nachsta if he paid the price of a shchita cow that's for meat. Lenachsta, we know he bought it for that, and therefore that should be mevarer or sofik. So the Gemara loy. Tzricha, we need it in a case the oike brisra, that the price now of meat went up in price. V'koibid meiradian, the same price of a cow for plowing. So therefore there's no difference in price. So you can't tell the difference by the price. Amri, the Bnei Shiva asked, okay, what's the difference? Since the price is the same, so you say, okay, let's say he meant it for radia, he wanted it for radia, and now he for plowing, and now he gave him a cow that's a nakchon that's not good for radia. Lishkol Ture, Bezuzah, he should take this ox that he got off him instead of the money they owes him, because it's the same price. The Amarinchi that people say, someone who owes you money, per afra, even if he gives you subim, even if he gives you little pieces of wood, take it off him because he owes you money. Don't ask too many questions. Take what he owes you. So here the cow's worth the same price. Take this cow and all good. So the Gemara, lo, tzricha, we need this in a case, the guy who sold it, Reuven, has cash. I prefer cash. I prefer the cash and to buy another ox. I don't want to start selling this ox and buying another one. So Rav Omar, it's a mekachtos in this case. Zilbos aruba, go after Roy, veruba the inchi, and most people, radio de zabne. What do they buy an ox for? To plow. And therefore it's a mekachtos. V'Shmuel Omar, Yochel Shiyom Aloi, Reuven could say, V'shchita mocharati loch, I sold it to you for shchita, v'lo azlinan bos aruba, and you don't go after Roiv, ki azlinan bos aruba. When do we go after Roiv b'Yisura? When we have a suffix, is it treifa, is it not treifa? You go after Roiv. Aval b'mamoina, in momenis, lo azlinan bos aruba, we don't go after Roiv, ela moitzi mechavera olav araya, the dinner, the one who's muchzik, until the other person doesn't have a raya, he can't be moitzi. So therefore, we said Veklal Godel Badin. It's coming to tell you that Veklal Godel Badin is coming to tell you this extra case Lefi Shmuel, not Lefi Rav. Tani Nami Ochi. We have another brisa saying so that the Mishnah is Dafka Sumchus, but Rabbanon Ochoilek. It says Shor Shenogach Sapara Ox Ugod a cow v'nimtzu uber b'tzida, and we find the baby calf next to it. Ve'enu Yodua, and we don't know Imacheloi Nokcho. If before the goring happened Yolda, and therefore it died, nothing to do with the goring. Yolda, maybe it was born after the goring, and therefore it died. Like we said in the Mishnah, but here we add on in the Brisa, this is Shemchus Shita. The Chachamim argue and say, that you don't have to pay nothing for the vlad until you bring a raya that got damaged from the goring. Omar Rab Shmuel ben Achmani, says Rab Shmuel ben Achmani, Minayin, how do we know? What's the source for this din? Shenemar, it says in the pasuk by when Moshe Rabbeinu went up to Har Sinai. He said, I'm leaving you here, Chur and Aaron, and mi bal dvarim migashalem. Anyone has an issue should go to them, and we darshan from them. Yagish raya eleim. We darshan that he should bring a raya. The one who has a taina, he has to bring the raya. Matkif Rav Ashi, ask Rav Ashi Akasha, Holomo Likro. What do we need the pasuk for this? Svaru is a pashto svara, the koivle keive, the one who has a pain. He goes to the doctor. If you have a taina against someone that owes you money, you go to Besdin. What do you need a pasuk for that? Elokro, the pasuk is for something else. Look at the Rav Nachman, Omar Rabba, Barvur. For Rav Nachman, in the name of Rabba, the son of Avur, said, the Omar Rav Nachman, Omar Rabba Barvur, Minayin, how do we know? Shenis kokim ela luteviatchilo. Reuven comes to Besdin and says, Shimon owes me money. And Shimon says, no. Yes, I owe the money, but I gave Reuven a mashkin. I gave him a pikotin something, and he used it, so I don't have to pay money. So there's two tainas over here. Reuven says Shimon owes money, and Shimon says no, Reuven doesn't. I don't owe money. Reuven owes me because I gave him a mashkin. So we say first we discuss Reuven's claim, and then we discuss Shimon's claim. And how do we know that? Shenemar mi bal dvar miga shalem yagish dvar aleim. There you go first to the one who's toveh first. Amr Naradore, in Naradore, it's a place in Bovel, we said, Pa'omim, at times, you go first to the claim of Shimon, what's the case? Because Vili Nichsei. As I'm going to go with one pshat in Rashi, that let's say Shimon's taining that he had a mashkin by Reuven, and he wants it back. And now we have here these people in town who are looking specially to buy this mashkin, such a type of thing, and we know they're going away tomorrow, and if we're not going to take Shimon's claim, even if he's, and by the time we're going to first go with Reuven's claim and only afterwards Shimon's claim, Shimon won't be able to sell his mashkin that he gave to Reuven only for a low value, and now he has the opportunity to sell in a high value. So therefore we'll first listen to Shimon and hear if his mashkin really belongs to him and he could get it back and he could sell it in a good price, and only afterwards we'll go to Reuven's claim. Said the Gemara, we learned in the Mishnah, we said a cow gored the shore and we don't know when the baby was born. He says we pay half the nezek from the cow, another revia nezek, another quarter from the baby. Frek the Gemara, chetzi nezek v'revia nezek, comes out that you pay half a nezek plus a quarter. Comes palganisko de boy shlumi. All he has to pay at a time is half nezek. Kuliniska, the full amount, nechi revia, less a quarter, that means 3/4. Ma'avidete, what's pshat? Why should he pay 3/4? Where did we ever see a payment of 3/4? Oma Abaye says, Abaye, chetzi nezek, when we said chetzi nezek, it means echod me'arba nezek. It means half the nezek of what he needs to pay, because this cow, normally you need to pay, if time needs to pay chetzi nezek. So you need to pay half of that. When we said chetzi nezek from the cow, it means half of that half. So it means a quarter of the full nezek. The revia nezek, when we said a revia nezek, we don't mean a revia nezek from the full payment. It means echod mishmoyne benezek, an eighth of the whole payment, and it means a quarter of how much you need to pay of chetzi nezek of a tam. Continues the Gemara Abaye and says, "Ve'ipor v'vlad echad ninu." If the cow and the baby belongs to one person, ochinami demotzi omalei lebal pora, the owner of the ox, the nizar, could tell the bal pora, mimon of shoch. Whatever happens, we don't care. Both belong to you. Chetzi nezek havli. Pay me half the nezek, because we don't care when this happened, when this was born. You caused me the damage. Pay me half a nezek. Eloloi tricha, the case that the Mishnah is talking about, the para dechat, the cow belongs to one person, the vlad and the baby dechat to someone else. If you come first to Baal Pora and say you owe me half, the mazik could tell, the nizak could tell the balapara, didon azikton. Your cow caused me damage. Avli raya de islach shutfi. Bring me a raya that you have shutfim, that the baby was also part of this goring, and then you'll have to pay. But until you don't have raya that you have shutfim for this hezek, you need to pay me the full chetzin hezek. Elo, where the Mishnah talking about the kodim taveli bal vlad chila. He first went to the baby's owner first, to the calf's owner first, and he said, you need to pay me. And then he went to the balapara. The Omalei, the balapara says, Golis adatech, you, the nizik who went first to the owner of the calf, you were megaladat, the shutfi, that I have shutfim. And therefore, now that I have shutfim, I'm only paying half of chetzin nezek, I'm paying a quarter. Some people say, even though that the nizak came first to the balapara, the balapara could push him off and say, the Omalei, he says, I know the shutfi, I know I have a shutfi, I know that this baby was born afterwards, go to him as well, I'm only paying you half the nezek, a quarter. So that's one pshat in the Mishnah. So when it says a half, it means half of chetzin nezek, that's a quarter. And when it says revia, it means the revia of chetzin nezek, that means an eighth of the full nezek. Amar Rava, otu echod me'arba benezek ve'echod me'b'shmoinen. Benezek toni, does it say a quarter and an eighth? Chetzin nezek ve'revia nezek toni, it says chetzin nezek ve'revia nezek. It doesn't make sense what you're saying, Abaye. Elo Amar Rava, says Rava, nu pshat in the Mishnah, lo'olam bepar v'vlad echad. It's talking about the cow and the baby and the calf belongs to one person. And this is pshat in the Mishnah. If the cow exists, mishtalim chetzi nezek mipar. If the cow is over here, you pay the full nezek from the full nezek. That's half a nezek of the tatam from the par. The cow is not here, disappeared, and only the calf is here. Mishtalim revia nezek mivlad. You pay quarter of the nezek from the vlad, because it's a sofek if the vlad was part of this damage or not, and therefore with the Mishnah Sumchus who says Moman Amuto b'sofek cholkim, and therefore you pay a quarter and not a half. Said the Gemara, Tama deloy adinan, or Rava says Tama deloy adinan yave vlad ba'ado kinok loyava. If the whole reason why the vlad only has to pay a quarter is because it's a sofek. If we know that when the goring happened, the baby, the calf wasn't born yet, and it was in the stomach of the mother that caused the damage. When he gored, he could take the whole chetzin nezek from the vlad. So the Gemara, Rava letame, this is Rava lefi shita. The Omar Rava, the Rava said, Para shezika, a cow that caused damage, goyve mivloda, you could take the payment from its baby. My timer, what's the reason goofy? Until the baby's born, it's part of the cow, and therefore the cow caused damage. It's like you could be goiva from its leg, you could be goiva from its vlad. But tarnigoyle shezika, a chicken that caused damage, ain't a goiva mibitzose. You can't claim from the baby, from the egg that came out, that hatched. My timer pirsha be'almu. Pirsha means it's mufresh, it's separate. The egg and the chicken are not one goof, it's separate. Masha'ik, the baby and the cow is one goof, and it's one piece, and therefore you can claim from the vlad.